That's what I think of.
Yeah. What about you, Nate?
I'm just right now. I'm thinking of all the people that have had compassion on me this last couple of years. You know, like I'm you know, you guys, you three, you know, my family. You know, and Cameron, you mentioned understanding. You know, so many people are were so understanding of what I was going through. You know, with my divorce, my you know recovery, you know, trying to beat alcoholism, you know, it takes a lot of compassion to really feel for that person and you know, kind of assist them with what they're going through. And I my appreciation to you guys and the people in my life right now for the compassion that has been shown to me is so great, you know. And I think, you know, I'm able to I'm developing this. You know, I can't say I'm a real big passionate compassionate person right now, but I want to say that I'm working on it. You know, I'm learning how to listen to people and what's really going on in their lives. I'm learning how to relate to them on a deeper level, and you know, it's nice to be able to look at somebody for what's going on and not for what they're doing. And am so appreciated. I appreciate the people that have done that to me, and you know, it's really I wouldn't be here right now without compassion.
Sure.
You know, so
I could see that.
Yeah, very well said.
Compassion seems like such a deep,
it's really
such a
deep.
heavy emotion, right?
Yeah.
Like we were talking a little bit about this before the show, and I want to get Jordan to chime in because we had a good little discussion before the show about what is compassion, what is it, what does it mean, you know, and we were kind of comparing it with empathy, you know. So what is the definition of compassion?
So the definition of compassion is sympathetic pity and concern for the sufferings or misfortunes of others. And as we were talking about the difference between compassion and empathy, compassion is the ability to feel for another living being, while empathy is the ability to not only understand another's feelings, but also to become one with that person's distress.
So there is a subtle difference.
A little bit.
Yeah.
They kind of parallel each other.
Yeah.
It's so many things do,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so like compassion, right?
Yeah.
How my ego flares up all the time, like what somebody else is going through, right? Like I look at somebody's behavior and I'm like, this person, why would you do that, right? And then I remember, oh yeah, because you're just like me.
Right.
And I do that too. So, how are you compassionate?
How am I compassionate?
Yeah. Like what brings compassion to the forefront of you? How do you find yourself in a
How do I
compassionate situation?
I am still looking for myself, so I haven't found myself yet. But you talk about, you know, it's funny that you say that because when I think of compassion, I do think about self-compassion.
Right.
Because I almost feel like it starts with me first, as it usually should, right? Like I've got to take care of myself before I can, you know, begin to spread that to the people around me. And one thing that I've got to have for myself is compassion for maybe some of the things that I've done, or some of the things that I continue to do, and that doesn't excuse the behavior. It just says, hey, it happened. I understand that it happened, and you know, we are in a position now where we can forgive ourselves for it. And you know, if I'm able to do that, then I'm more likely to then express compassion for the people around me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely isn't always easy for me to look at people in situations that again aren't situations where I've ever found myself and think that I can have compassion for that. But I can usually pinpoint something, or at least know enough about that situation to say, never been there, but it seems like if I was in that situation, I could probably see myself doing something similar.
Yeah.
So I can understand why it is you're feeling the way that you are.
Yeah.
And I think that, on those lines, that it's important to maybe have as much information as you can about the situation. I think specifically right now with what's going on in society, right? Like, it's so difficult to know, like, where people are coming from sometimes. But I think that the important part is to just sort of get enough information to say, okay, maybe, maybe I can have some compassion for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's something that you feel very, very strongly about. And even though I may not always understand it, like, I can have compassion for the fact that you've been made to feel that way.
Yeah.
And now there's something because of that.
Yeah. This is where you're at.
Right.
And when I think of compassion, I think also, of the opportunity to serve in some way, shape, or form, right? Like, the panhandler is a great one to be able to judge, right? Because I know I've certainly been on both sides of the opinion about panhandlers, right? I've been in the car and completely judged everything about whatever that person is doing, where they're at, where they're standing, what their sign says, And I've also, without a blink of an eye, gave, without any intention of return, whatever it is they're asking for, right? And so, I love the person that I am when I'm in the space of service. When I'm in the space of giving without the intention of getting anything back. I love being that guy. Compassion isn't something that comes to me naturally. I don't know that. I don't know what percentage of the world is like that. It seems like my 4-year-old is naturally compassionate, right? Which is a little bit different than my 7-year-old when he was 4. And then my 2-year-old is definitely not. Like she's all about her, But my 4-year-old, if anybody's hurting, he's ready to give whatever it is to make that person feel better, right? And when I think of service and I think of compassion, I don't think of like taking whatever that person is away there from that situation, but more like helping them through it. How can I help you through this situation without taking away the growth that comes along with it?
Right.